All right, everybody, welcome back to the channel. I appreciate y'all stopping in. Make sure you hit that like button for a brother. Let me check my levels real quick. I'm going to get straight to it tonight. Make sure we're good to go here. Sure we are. All right, everybody, welcome back to the channel. I appreciate it. All right. Yeah. So y'all saw the title. Who has the keys to the kingdom? Who has the keys to the kingdom? Does anyone have the keys to the kingdom? And when I speak kingdom, we could take it any way you want to take it. We can look at it from a heavenly father perspective. We can look at it from just a quote unquote better life if you're an atheist. But who has the keys to the kingdom? I think most people who are paying attention can see that things, there's a vibe shift happening right now in the world, particularly here in the United States, as more and more things are revealed and understood. I think people are seeing things that maybe they thought they would never see. Maybe they weren't ready to see them. Some people are like, hey, what took so long? It's just a whole range of emotions and frequencies that people are feeling right now. I took a few notes, then we're going to get straight to some videos. So I'll go ahead and give you guys the agenda for tonight. We are going to watch this clip right here at Ye. And then we're going to go to some bookmarks real quick, just discussing who has the keys to the kingdom, because everyone's speaking right now. You're hearing things about in politics. You're hearing things in entertainment, the entertainment world, the influencer world, all types of different information, people pointing fingers, the idea of hate, the idea of love. All these things are being discussed on the internet, and I think, and maybe some people's day-to-day conversations. All right. So, when you think about the keys to the kingdom, is it the U.S. government? Does the U.S. government have the keys? Through the money system, through legislation, can we legislate our way to the kingdom? There's this idea of the next election. The next election, is that it? Even when I say that, does that sound real to you? The next election is going to get better? I don't know. The education system. Do we need just more education? Do we need more people with higher education? Do we need to send more people to college? At one point, you can not graduate high school and be just fine. And then it moved to a point where if you didn't have at least a high school diploma, you weren't going to be doing so well. So you had to get the high school diploma. And then it moved on to where you need to at least have a bachelor's degree. And now the bachelor's is like, well, you need a master's. And now the master's need a, so is it education? Is it the churches? Is it the churches? Do they have the keys to the kingdom? Now I'm going to get a little bit spiritual. Does death hold the keys? Does someone have to die in order to bring in the kingdom? Does someone that we love have to die? So will it take death, either our death to see the kingdom? Maybe, in that sense, if you think about the, ideas of certain religions, or someone to die, like a Charlie Kirk type of issue where that brings in the kingdom. Is it just more exercise? 2 more push-ups. And here's one that I like. Does it come from force, or is it an offering? Force or an offering? And I want to discuss that topic maybe here in the near future. The idea of force and offerings, and then the whole idea of free will. Spoiler alert, I don't believe we have free will. I think we make offerings. Everything is an offering. And I won't get into too much of that right now. I'll talk about that here in the near future. But is it force? We're going to see some force here in a little bit too in one of my bookmarks on X. Force, you will. All right. Is censorship the key? Where, hey, if you just don't say certain things because of XYZ, that'll bring the kingdom. Or is it just open expression, no matter how that comes? You know? So just some of the things I was thinking about. And who holds the keys, right? Who holds the keys? You know, is it going to be a group of people? Is it going to be a certain quote unquote, and I use these terms liberally. I don't necessarily believe in the idea of race. I believe in the idea of nations of people. But just for the sake of the conversation, is it a certain race of people that hold the keys? There's people that believe that. I was on an X space with a guy and he said, Europa is going to save the world. Europe. Candace Owens says Black Americans are going to be the saviors of America. Or is it going to just be one man? Who holds the keys, y'all? So let's check out what Ye said here. This is my guy right here. I like Ye. I like Ye a lot. I'll be honest with you guys. I love everybody. Yeah, Master Key. Who has it, bro? What's up, C. Moses? Appreciate you stopping by, man. As usual, man. Make sure you hit that like button for me, man. There's only a few of us out here that want to talk like this and have these conversations. But I like Ye. I think he's perfect, if that makes any sense. I think he's perfect. And here's one thing I'll say. You know, when you read the Bible, you read about Jesus, and it says Jesus was perfect. And then they still crucified him, right? So for people that are critical of everyone out here, right? We're all being criticized one way or the other, right? And it's not based on anything. The criticism doesn't come from your own mind. It comes from whatever you were programmed to be critical of. I'm going to say that again. The things that you're critical of don't come from you. They come from what other people told you to be critical of. Imagine yourself as a baby and imagine something happened where, you know, you grew up and you lost all your memory. All right. And then you were, you know, brought back into consciousness again, but you had no idea of any of the concepts that we are moving with today. You didn't understand the concept of racism. You didn't understand the concept of wealth. You didn't understand the concept of education, any of these things. 1 times 1 meant nothing to you, but you knew that you breathed the air, you needed food, you know, the essentials. You understood the essentials in life and what life was. If a guy like Ye said, white lives matter, would you be moved by that? It's just a thought. Would you be moved by that concept if it had not been put into you? Would you be moved by the concept of slavery? Sounds like a choice if you had not been programmed, basically. I hate using that word. But what I'm saying, these are ideas that don't necessarily come from you. And when you think about the essence of our life, everything's an idea. Everything's an idea, guys. The car you get into to drive to work or drive to school or go on a date, that car was an idea before it was in reality. So everything's an idea first. We're just living around a bunch of ideas, guys. And that's why I said on a couple of videos back, this thing we're dealing with is so much more spiritual than you ever could believe. It's strictly spiritual. It's not physical. Okay. Another thing, I don't come on here to be a teacher. I'm not a teacher. I'm not trying to be a leader. That's why my little scroll there I put down there. You can subscribe to the channel, but don't follow me. I'm not asking for followers or anything like that. I'm not asking for followers. We already a lot of y'all already following someone. You can subscribe, but I'm not. So don't be offended. I'm not trying to take down your leaders. Okay. So hey, Ye said something here on this interview or this live stream. I'm gonna play it, and then I want y'all to see this and kind of hear this guy. Now he's holding a Bible in his hand. If you haven't noticed, all right, here we go.
You understand what I'm saying? Like, this is what I thought about when I look at this parallel right here. So Bari and Paul Johnson, these niggas are seers, bro. It's people who can see the future, and it's called like the human design. Some Ellen just put me onto. It's like some 18-point shit. It's like some shit like we got like retreat type shit. It's like a rehab retreat type vibe out here. So, and certain people like me, it's my job to have a bird's eye view. This is the reason what makes me such a good production creative director. Mm-hmm. I have like a bird's eye view of where we're at. Like, so I'm here, but I'm seeing all of this from here somehow. And then I simplify and organize. We're going to take the 1,000 people at season 3, we're going to put a curtain over them. Vanessa B. Croft like, yo, the models are hot. The people are hot. I was like, you got to leave that. And you hold it until the last notes of ultralight beams. That shit went up. And Kings was made in that moment. Millionaires was made just by seeing it. The way it inspired people. There's a lot of people, first fashion show, that it says the first time you heard Father Stretch My Hands. And that's what it is, and that's what it's going to be. And it's going to be like that one day. I'm telling you, play this back. Play this back. It will be like, it's going to be just like Donda. It's going to be just like season 3, except I'm going to be the one in charge. We ain't working for them no more. You understand? The Jews are middle management for the white people that run 85% of the African banks. High percentage, I don't know the exact percentage because motherfuckers are good, but high percentage of people being locked up. Everybody with motherfucking.
And that kind of goes into what I was talking about, but he said some key stuff there. And I believe him. I believe him. The parallel, I think, if you hear what he said, he was talking about his season 3, Madison Square Garden, when he had that veil over the stage. There was a veil. No one could see what was under. And Vanessa B. Croft is someone who is an artist, and she helps Ye. I think she did the Runaway videos, what he said. But she's a very artistic lady. And her concern was that the people are going to be hot. The models are going to be hot. And he said, you got to hold it. You hold it until the last note of Father Stretch My Hands. And then the curtain went up. And I think we're in that phase of the game right now where the models are getting hot. Yeah, bro. Yo, I never heard this. We talking about, yeah, what Ye just said? Yeah. The models are hot. The people are going to be hot. And that's what we're seeing in the world right now. The people are getting hotter and hotter and hotter and hotter, ladies and gentlemen. But you got to hold that. You got to hold it until the last note of Father Stretch My Hands. Father, stretch my hands. And then the curtain going to go up, the veil going to be lifted. And in that moment, boom. You're going to see who the real kings are. And I don't say that from an egotistical point of view. I'm saying that from a spiritual point of view. The true kings, the true priests, the true treasure. But it's going to get hot. And the people are getting hot now. If you want to elaborate on that, Moses, what you wrote about, you never heard this, feel free to elaborate on that in the chat, brother. But I listen. You know, I listen. And he also has made comments like, people say, oh, they like this interview I did, you know, but at the time they didn't like the interview. 10 years go by and it's like, oh, I love that Ye interview. At the time they didn't like it. It's a lot of us like that, man. Regardless of people understand, Ye speaks for a lot of us, man. You know, and as I talked about before about these ideas that we're running off of, he's clearly not controlled by other people's ideas. And that's the type of energy and spiritual, and I use this term, you know, in a straight spiritual sense, the spiritual warfare that it's going to take to reach the kingdom. I was thinking about this earlier today. The term racism was created by racists. Think about it. The term racism was created by racism. The term racism was created by racist. And I don't even believe in racism. But this is to go to show you that the people will lean on this idea of racism, but the idea of racism was given to you by the racist. Can Satan cast out Satan? If a house is divided, it won't stand. So if the house is telling you racism and it appears to be division, it's not division, because Satan can't cast out Satan, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. These are all ideas, guys. It's fake. It's fake. Let me see what you got. Yeah, bro. I'm building with him, but not with him yet. Okay. And I am too, man. I'm supporting everything he does, and I'm behind the idea. I'm not counting this guy out by any means. I can't do it, you know. And I find it funny that this guy says he loves everyone and they still hate him. All right, so let's move on. So remember that's the theme. Two themes. The main theme, the main overall idea is that who has the keys to the kingdom, and with the caveat of the people are hot. Okay? The people are hot, and they're going to get hotter. All right. So let's go to my ex real quick, and then we're going to watch some clips from this Alex Jones interview. Let's look back at that. I got a couple of timestamps I want to touch on in this interview here, and I got some bookmarks we're going to get into. Here's some of the feelings right now. Look, everybody hates the Jews. This is from a lady named Bari Weiss. She's a Jew. She's writing, a disturbing new study confirms what many Jewish Americans are feeling. The people are getting hot. Right? You know, there's a part of me that has this vision that one day Jewish people are going to need, quote unquote, black people to save them. And I mean that in every sense, to save them. Because I think these other nations, there may be a day where all of Jewry needs black people of all people to literally run behind and say, please save my life. It's possible. These things are popping up everywhere. At the height of American slavery, 78% of the slave owners were Jewish. This is information for people. People didn't know that. We all saw Roots. We all saw Django. I didn't see 12 Years a Slave, but a lot of people saw 12 Years a Slave and all this stuff. That's just white people. But now things like this are popping up. The people are hot. You got Tucker Carlson and Mike Huckabee sitting down. Let's listen to this real quick. And let's ask ourselves, does Mike Huckabee and Tucker Carlson have the keys to the kingdom? Let's hear this conversation and y'all let me know what y'all think.
Ask you a question, like, how much does it matter what Americans think? Well, it matters every bit what Americans think. That's why
Okay.
Americans vote. It's why Americans have the opportunity to have free speech. We want them to have that.
Okay, so what percentage of Americans support a war with Iran?
I don't know. Do you know?
I do. I think it's around, I saw the numbers yesterday, I think it was like 21%.
Okay.
Is that enough to have a war with Iran?
We don't live in a world where you have a poll taken to find out whether our policy should be a particular direction. Because
I thought you just said that
that's
we
direct
vote.
democracy. No, we care deeply about it. But on the other hand, do we make the decisions of foreign policy and even domestic policy based on
We
what
care
the latest
deeply about
poll
it in
number
what
is?
sense? If we're ignoring it, then in what sense do we, quote, care deeply about it?
Well, I think we care deeply when we see there's a threat.
No, but about Americans' opinions. So you've got 350 million Americans. They vote. They voted in this last election on the basis, in part, of the promise no more wars. Okay, so now we're about to have a war. Looks like 80% of people are against it. In that range, let's say 70%, but nowhere near majority support for this war. And it's not direct democracy, but it is a form of democracy. It's representative democracy.
The ultimate form of democracy in our system, in a republic, because we're not a true democracy, we're a
Right,
republic.
exactly. Right. It's a mediated democracy.
It'll be an opportunity for Americans to vote if they think that we've made the wrong policy decisions. I personally think the president is making the right policy decisions.
But I guess, but you just said it matters deeply what Americans think, and if the overwhelming
does
majority are against it, in what sense does it matter? Because what I hear is it matters what they think, but it really doesn't matter what they think because
No, you take it in, you certainly ingest that.
Is this the conversational energy that hold the keys to the kingdom? I would say no. Is this the energy? People love Tucker Carlson, and I love him too. You know, that's not saying much because I love everybody. If I say I love you, it's not really saying much because I love every soul created. You know what I'm saying? So it's not about a hate thing with me. But is this the spiritual energy between these two young gentlemen here, I should say, that's going to bring the kingdom? I don't know, God. I don't see it. I don't see it. I don't see it. Let's listen to this guy right here. And I don't know who this man is.
We lied.
But they're talking about the lies that have been told to the American people about these conflicts. All right, here we go.
We lied about Vietnam. We lied about Iraq. We lied about Afghanistan. We lied about Somalia. We lied about Libya. We put more small arms and medium arms into the hands of terrorist groups the world over by not securing Gaddafi's weapons caches in Libya than any arms merchant has ever put into the world. Did the same thing in Iraq. We failed to secure Saddam Hussein's arm caches. We didn't have enough troops to do it.
Is it boomer energy? That's what they're calling these guys, boomers. Is it boomer energy? Does boomer energy have the keys to the kingdom, ladies and gentlemen? The energy of the Lowe's shopper, the guy that goes to Lowe's and buys brick for his new patio. I'm not saying anything's wrong with that, but is that the energy? I'm not trying to say you can't buy, you know what I'm trying to say, guys. Is this the energy? Lowe's shopper energy? Is it this? I'm seeing stuff like this pop up where people are talking about. If you haven't read this information, this is some interesting information here. The protocols from a Catholic perspective. Now the Catholics are hot. Everybody's getting hot. The boomers are getting hot. Tucker is getting hot. So it seems. Huckabee's trying to keep the flames down. I think that whole interaction between them two, quite honestly, was just some, that was controlled in my viewpoint. Okay. When Ye said he's somebody that sits above and can see everything, I'm not going to ever say that I'm as high because God didn't anoint me to the Ye level. But I'm like right down there looking down too. And I look at that situation between Tucker Carlson and Huckabee as controlled. Absolutely controlled. Because nothing comes from these things.
And their dispersion served a providential purpose.
Now, I'm not going to watch that, but you see what I'm saying? These are the things that are popping up. Listen to this Jewish guy right here talk about
Anywhere and
stuff.
everywhere that it exists. The
Listen.
scourge of anti-Semitism must be defeated anywhere and everywhere that it exists. As we just heard before, from holding universities accountable to using laws within the Justice Department, existing laws, to hold and prosecute crimes against the Jewish community, from preventing people from working and going to worship in their shuls. And then, as was touched on very briefly, but a visa vetting program that we are just beginning now to see the results. The scourge of anti-Semitism must be
Now, Ye made a comment back with that Digital Nas interview, and I didn't quite get it at that time, but I see it now. When he said the Jewish people are middlemen and that they work for the whites, there's just whites above the Jews. See, Jewish people, the reason that they're seen is because they have to be seen. They have a special role in the world that I talked about before. They literally have to be next to Trump. They have to be next to Obama. They have to be next to Martin Luther King. They have to be in these certain positions over media because that's their gift in order to subdue. They're the sword. They're the subduers. They're the darkness, spiritual darkness, so that these other nations can prosper off the downfall of another group of people. They have to play that role. And if they're not in that role, it won't work. So this guy's idea of the kingdom is to pass more laws, shut people up, and you know, that's his thing. This is him speaking to the Republicans. So does he have the keys to the kingdom? I ask you that. Is this a way for better life where we just shut people up when they want to talk about whether it be black people and their behaviors or Jewish people and their behaviors, white people and their behaviors, gay people and their behaviors, transgenders and their behaviors, Indian immigrants and their behaviors? Where does it end? Is that the keys? I mentioned that earlier in my little monologue. Is it censorship? Will that bring forth a new day, prosperity, truth? You can't talk about it. What do you think? How about Nick?
Acting in good faith. They're not good faith actors. They get paid to say things. In many cases, they don't write their own tweets. People pay them and give them a script, and they share it with you. And they do this on behalf of campaigns. They do it on behalf of nonprofits. They do it on behalf of think tanks and PACs and anyone who will give them money. And that's why sporadically you will see them advocating for certain special interests like mining in the Congo. That's why you'll see them at various times talking about deals in Syria and things like this. That's why they'll say one thing a year ago and a completely different thing the next year. It's because they don't know anything. They don't have real beliefs. They have no principles. They are playing a game where they exist between the money and the power. They exist between politics and the donors that fund politics and the people. And the job of the influencer, well, it's in the name. What do you think an influencer does? They're paid to influence you. On behalf of who? The money. That is where they always exist, and you can never forget that. They are being paid by the money to influence you in a particular direction, to generate public support for one or another public policy. That's what they
See, I love Nick Fuentes. Well, let me stop saying. I'm gonna stop saying I love him because I love everybody, but I like Nick. I don't like everybody, but I love everybody. But I like Nick Fuentes because he says what he feels, and you got to appreciate that. And he has the ability to get the people hot, right? He has the ability to get the people hotter and hotter and hotter. But ultimately, though, does he have the keys to the kingdom? Do you think a guy like Nick Fuentes, with the spiritual energy that he's been given by God, has the keys to the kingdom? I would say no. Matter of fact, I'll go as far, and we're going to watch it here later. Nick Fuentes wouldn't be Nick Fuentes hadn't it not been for Ye. He would just be some other guy on, yapping. But that Ye spotlight really elevated him, and he'll tell you that himself. So does a Nick Fuentes, as much as he speaks his mind, does he have the spiritual keys to the kingdom? I would say no. All right. And he's talking about influencers here. We talked about what it is. It's all about controlling ideas. These people that are, these high octane influencers, they're just there to control your idea. I liken the world and the ideas to like a big pool of water, right? Imagine a big body of water that it continue, like, a waterfall going into some lake. And after a while, the waterfall is going to make the lake overflow. That overflow are the dissenters, people who reject the system, the people who have questions, the people who are like, hey, what's going on here? And what these influencers are, they're like small buckets to catch the water that spills out of that mainstream. I think I made that. I think I articulated that properly. I'm not that college educated. I got a few courses, but I like to use analogies more than long words. You got a leak in your roof. You put the bucket down to catch the water so it doesn't hit the floor. That's what these influencers are. They're buckets to control the overflow, because not everybody's going to buy the mainstream narrative. So you got to have a place for these people. You have to have a home for these people. You can't let that water get all over your floor. It'll mess up the house, right? So they put these buckets down and they call them influencers and says, okay, if it drips from over here, we got a bucket to catch it. If it drips from over here, we got a bucket to catch it. And that's what they get paid to do. That's it. And when that bucket gets filled, they put another bucket next to that bucket. And there's never any limit of buckets. They got buckets for days to put you in. All right. But I like Nick. I think Nick's important. And I think Nick has a certain ability to bring certain ideas to the table, ultimately to bring a certain segment of the population more to the light. Okay? More to the light. I don't think Nick, even though he does have an ego, a lot of us, all of us do, I don't think his ego is so large where he won't submit to a higher power. All right. Guys like this.
Not only is
Now, these are the type of men who believe, in this whole America was founded by whites and it's our country and this is our country. If it's not clear to you guys by now that this was never a white man's country, I don't know when you're going to see it. The United States never belonged to quote unquote white people, ever. Ever. You didn't build it like you think you built it. You don't got it like that. And it's kind of sad to see these people believe in these ideas that there's some kind of way special to where they built America and it was theirs. It was never yours. Why are all these Indian Americans over here now then running everything? Why can't you stop the quote unquote illegals from coming in? Why can't you stop the wars? Why can't you stop any of this madness going on? Because it was never your country. It was never your country. The United States is always just a golden calf. It was just a thing, a concept, the United States itself, in order to suck and extract the resources out of the land based on the darkening of the true kings and priests. So let's listen to this guy. I think his name is Joe Wellbon or something like that. And he's pumped up and arrogant. And here's the thing, and I give everybody a break. I'm not hard on white people like some people are, because I understand that we've all living under the same lie. We're all living under the same lie. We're all living under the same lie. And I think I said this in my last stream, or maybe I've said it before, but I got to repeat myself. You know, there's two variables right now. You got black people who want to hang on to the victim narrative. If you tell a black person, hey, man, we come from glory. We're not black. It wasn't slavery. Slavery can't stop us. They'll hold on to that and say, shut up, you coon. I like my black. I love my black. So they want to stay down. Subconsciously, they do. White supremacy, blah, 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 blah. They subconsciously want to hold on to that idea of black, and they won't let it go. Right? So it's hard to bring them up. And then you got this white identity that's been fostered and pushed through the mainstream, where these quote unquote white people have been elevated through society, through Superman, through George Washington, through Paul Revere, through the dollar bill with a white man's face on it, to this ideal of white excellence. And, you know, we're the builders. And then when you tell them, hey, man, you're not all that actually. Shut up. Shut up, nigger. We was kings. They make jokes. That's what they say about black people, to make fun of black people. Oh, we was kings. Sub-Saharan, low IQ. So both sides of the population are blinded by the same lie, really. It's the same lie both ways. And somebody has to be able to kind of like, and get it back to where it needs to be.
Whole witch hunt for white supremacists who hate brown people simply because they're brown. The reason why that's so lucrative, and there are NGOs with millions and millions of dollars for that, is because the white people in America are predominantly, on the whole, not racist. White people in America are, if anything, I think, too trusting, too gullible, toxic empathy. White people in America are like, you know what? I know that this will kill my grandchildren, but can we just import half of the country of Haiti, just to be nice? Like, so not only is racism non-existent, if anything, we could probably use a little bit more racism in America. This whole witch hunt for white supremacists who hate brown people.
Is that the energy? Deport Haiti. You know, he has this idea that this is his land. There's going to be a whole lot of broken hearts. I'm telling you, when that veil is lifted, like Ye was talking about, it's going to be so many broken hearts. The arrogance from where he speaks. And it's not just his side. You'll hear quote unquote black people talking in the same arrogant way about lies. It's not just black and white. Even that's a fake construct. It's amazing. You know? And if God is not showing you that it was never about you, Mr. White people, I don't know what else y'all need to see. You know what I'm saying? So, but I asked the question, does this man have the spiritual power to, does he have the spiritual authority? Does he have the keys to the kingdom? Are those ideas that he just expressed, is that the key to the kingdom? I say no. Now watch this video right here, and then we're gonna get to this interview with we're gonna watch two more. Watch a little bit of this right here, and this stuff right here bothers me.
We are standing up for what we think is right.
Now this is back in the quote unquote civil rights era, I believe, where this black guy is confronting, or she's confronting him about them blacks, quote unquote blacks, trying to move in next to white people. Let me give you my understanding about this whole civil rights and this whole segregation thing. I talked about it earlier in the monologue. Force versus an offering. I'm for the offering side. I don't like force. You can't force people to love you. And that's what segregate. You can't force people to hate. So I'm against the quote unquote forced segregation and the forced integration. Anytime you put force in front of it, it's not going to be a good thing. Okay? So listen to what she's saying to this guy, and we'll go for a little while and listen to his response. And I want to know who's behind the camera, though. Who's behind the camera?
We are standing up for what we think is right now.
Barbara,
I need it.
you're playing into their hands. Let me speak to them, okay?
In the name of God, how much more are we supposed to take?
Take from what?
From you people.
I mean, you people. You sound like I'm a dog or something.
As we forgive those who trespass against us, and lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen.
We want freedom! 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 We want freedom!
Don't you think you know we're doing it?
No, because we need our rights. They want all the rights. They're not going to give it. Save our school. Save our school.
And they don't have enough gumption to turn around and tell that Supreme Court to rule on the laws of the land rather than to mess with our children and ruin our education and put our country down. You kidding me? Now, they were appointed officials, and we'll impeach every one of them if we have to get this country back where it belongs. Maybe about time somebody do something. Now, all of a sudden, the tide is turning a little bit. You see how things feel now. You all come upset, huh? You're all upset. Say somebody taking your rights away.
We want no trouble. We don't condemn these black people. They are human beings too. We understand that, but we want our school. And we're going to get it if we have to go to Washington to get it.
I don't have a problem with what she's saying. It's the force. It's the force. And this is from a channel, something says African Archive. So there's a large swath, I would say, of quote unquote black people that may be like, look at these evil white people. It's force. It's the force. What the government, if they loved us, what they would have done was just remove the segregation law and let people work it out on their own. Let it happen naturally. But when you start saying we're gonna make these people go to, and they will be in this, and they will, that's causes problems. You forcing people, yo. I don't want nobody forcing me. And it's funny now because a lot of quote unquote black people nowadays are saying we want our own shit. What? A lot of black people say we want our own now. But then get mad at this. Which one is it? But these are the type of programs and stuff they put in place to cause division. And this is how you know it was never a white man's country, because they didn't have the power to overturn this or stop this. You guys are getting used to white America. It's all a game. Now here, I put this up in my last video, I believe. Not this exact clip, but she's talking about something with the homie from Germany, 1930s Germany. Check her out. I think there's some truth to this statement.
This is why I tell y'all, let me get Hitler quote back up here. And I don't want to hear nobody, you quoted Hitler. You're damn right I did. Get him up here. Hitler said in his memoirs, he said that when we realize what he was really fighting against, it's going to be World War III. He also said that they have in their possession God's precious jewels. The jewels of the land. Us. Not the trees, bitch. Not the plants, hoe. Us. We are the jewels that Hitler was talking about. So without us on the land, you get it? Now again, they got y'all hating Hitler. Ask yourself why. If they got y'all loving Mike and hating Hitler, ask yourself why.
And that's the question we got to start asking. Why do I have to hate people? Why? Now, see, there's some controversy over that particular quote. Okay. But regardless if he said it or not, it's accurate. It's accurate. I want to go back into that again and pull that up. I'm not going to let her talk. I just want to pull up the words. Hitler said, because the white Jews know that the Negroes are the real children of Israel, and to keep America secret, the Jews will blackmail America. They will extort America. Their plan for world domination won't work if the Negroes know who they are. The white citizens of America will be terrified to know that all this time they've been mistreating and discriminating and lynching the children of Israel. That's that veil. See, I bring this up, man. People don't put two and two together. They say they're so smart, but why did we have to go into captivity in order for this new world to be built? And I'm not saying it from an aspect of a victim. I'm saying it from an aspect of just what happened. Like, this new world, it's like any war. I was in the army, so I've seen us go into countries and take down who was running stuff in order to install a new government. So it's the same concept. When they went into Iraq, they took down the Ba'ath Party, the people who were running stuff with Saddam. They just killed the leaders in Iran, try to take out their top leadership. They want to take out the people that have the power, that have control, that have influence. So why of all the people they had to put us into captivity, it doesn't make sense. There's something more to the story. We got to ask ourselves these questions is all I'm saying. What spirit are they trying to suppress? What ideas are they trying to suppress? It wasn't random. Okay? And that's going to be a head knocker right there when this information comes out. I have no idea how the world's going to come to realize this. I don't know what it's going to look like, you know? But I do feel like Christmas is coming. I feel like a kid. Like, things, every day we get closer and closer to more and more being revealed, closer and closer to that veil being lifted, and it feels like Christmas coming. The only problem is with this Christmas, you don't know it's the date. At least with Christmas, you know it was December 25th. Now it's just you don't know, so it makes you even more anxious. That's accurate. All right, let's check out some of this real quick. I got some bookmarks here. We're gonna kick it right on off. Now look who Ye got. No one knew who Nick Fuentes was like that until this moment. This is when Nick made his hay. Here we go. Now there might be some commercials in here. I'll make sure I, try to speed them up as quick as possible. I can't control Rumble. And we're going to do like maybe 3 or 4, 5, 6 timestamps and then get up out of here. All right. And like I said, I love everybody, man, but the truth shall set us free. And, I got people in my comments from my last video. One guy put in there something about, Ye got that gay energy. It's just strange to see people hate for no reason. Like, what is your problem, bro? What are you talking about? The same guy that would say Ye got gay energy is the same dude to be crying about why they didn't release the Epstein files. And he probably still watch porn. Here we go. Speaking of porn, let's go.
I'm a big fan of Steve Jobs, even though he did create Apple. And if you notice, the logo of Apple is actually the fall of man, the
forbidden fruit,
the bitten apple. Right? So we can get into, what social media has done to families and all that. We got 3 hours, right? But I like the way our incredible American inventors like Disney and Hughes and Steve Jobs, the way they ran their companies and invented things that changed the world. And the way Steve ran his company was his version of a sinless office. Everyone had to be so meticulous to be able to take what was 10 things at one time and make it and put it in the palm of our hand. Think about an iPhone. It's your fax. It's your email. It's your phone.
And now it's 1,000 things.
Yeah, it's your camera. It's your flashlight. Yeah, it's like 1,000 things in it. But he had to have his army go in with a sinless approach. And right now, God called Gideon to make an army, the 300, the real 300, not the movie version, that were all focused on serving this mission at the time. So we have a mission right now to save our families from social media, from Zionist control, and bring Jesus Christ back to the forefront. And we're protected. You know, I don't have security. My security is the angels. My security is the fact that I didn't load up pornography last night. And I said, this addiction is going to have to flee from me. You know, this addiction since I was 5 years old that has destroyed my mom and my dad's family, that destroyed my family. Like, when I take full accountability.
Now we're going to stop right there. We ain't going to get too far into it. We're going to go on. But you heard what he just said. Is that the energy for the keys? Is that key of the kingdom energy there? Speaking about the effects of pornography and what it's doing to us. Social media, how it's being used to control ideas. Remember, everything's an idea. Jesus Christ himself said, man, you know, we live off faith. You have faith that that paycheck's coming on Friday. You have faith that if you don't say this, you know, you'll keep your job. You have faith that if you say the wrong thing, you'll lose your job. Right? You have faith. You have faith that if you get that college degree, you're going to make over $100,000 a year. There's faith. And people don't understand that one of the keys to the Adam and Eve story, one of the keys, is that the serpent was able to reward them for disobeying God. There was a reward. Remember, it said she tasted the fruit and it was good. She saw that it was good. And Adam saw that it was good. They both saw that the fruit was good. It was good. That means they got a raise. I'm not saying working is the thing. You know what I'm saying? What I'm trying to say is that there's certain things that this society will push us to do and not do, and then you'll be rewarded for it. I like to talk about abortion a lot, not to, you know, hurt anyone's feelings, but to show that's one of the main examples of how you could be rewarded. Young girl gets pregnant her sophomore year of college. You can't have that baby girl. You got 2 more years. So her boyfriend takes her down to the clinic and they have the abortion. And 2 years later, they saw that it was good. You see what I'm trying to say, y'all? There are rewards for doing the wrong thing. All right. Let's go to another bookmark here. Okay, let's go right there. Go.
Beyond even what Hitler said, but reversing it onto white people, and we're supposed to sit there and accept it. And then Ye comes out and says, hey, you know, I see kind of a mafia running things, and then he's the devil. No, that's bullshit. Sorry.
All right, we're going to curse a little bit less on this.
Yes, Reverend. I'm going to try. I'll stop.
And the reason I wanted Nick, people have heard from Nick, but people haven't heard from Nick with Ye standing right next to him. You know, it's like that's the thing that the Zionists control, the 300 in control of the media and control of the governments. They don't want us to connect to each other. Like my dad said, okay, they say you're anti-Semitic, but they say he's a white supremacist. And he's asking me, well, what's the difference? I said, Dad, there is no difference. It's just separation and confusion. They want to separate and confuse the Christians and make us afraid to stand next to each other. A Christian can stand next to anyone. We can go visit R. Kelly in prison. We can go talk to Harvey Weinstein.
That's what Jesus did.
Yes, because Jesus can save everyone. But if the Zionists can get us so afraid that they're going to do what they've been doing to me, attempting to put me in jail, freeze my accounts, smearing me on the media, you know, all of these things, you know, you put on the whole armor of God and they will not be able to break your spirit.
And that's so true. It seems like this whole game was designed for us not to be able to talk to each other. You get that label of being this, that, and the other, and now you can't talk to this person. We can't talk to Nick Fuentes because he's a racist. You can't talk to Ye because he's an anti-Semite. Dad, what's the difference? There is no difference. It's just about causing confusion and making it so that we can't talk to each other, ladies and gentlemen. That's all these labels are. I had this concept, man, that, we had this idea about hell. Hell is hot and fire, hot and fire. Maybe it's not. Maybe hell is actually freezing cold. Maybe that's what hell is. It's freezing, freezing, freezing cold. Because that's what these words do. They freeze you, right? They call an anti-Semite. So now they want to freeze him in that stone of anti-Semite. Freeze him. He can never break out of that. It's cold. That's what cold does. It freezes you. Nick Fuentes is a racist. Freeze. He's frozen into that statue. That's what these labels do. They turn you into a frozen statue. But we know that our God, right, and the Messiah was about repentance and about change. You could change. You could be forgiven. Right? A lot of us have done things that we wish we had not done, but they want to freeze you to that. So maybe hell is freezing cold, guys. Maybe hell is freezing cold. Just an idea. All right, let's move on to another one here. But I like what Ye said there. It's all about that, right? Tell you who to love, who to hate. Okay. This is what really got people thinking. Right? And there might be a commercial, and I'll make sure I fast forward as soon as I can.
What did I thought?
That's right. You're not Hitler. You're not a Nazi. You don't deserve to be called that and demonized.
Well, I see good things about Hitler also. I love everyone, and Jewish people are not going to tell me you can love, us, and you can love what we're doing to you with the contracts, and you can love what we're pushing with the pornography. But this guy that invented highways, invented the very microphone that I use as a musician, you can't say out loud that this person ever did anything good, and I'm done with that. I'm done with the classifications. Every human being has something of value that they brought to the table, especially Hitler. How about that one? Ari Emanuel, how you like that one? Hey, Ron.
Is that the spirit of the keys to the kingdom? We heard old sister girl on my bookmarks saying they want you to be afraid of this man. Why are they picking and choosing who to love and who to hate? What gives them, we're all born naked, and all of a sudden you put some clothes on, I put some clothes on, now you telling me who to love and who to hate? See, the thing about this interview that was so weird, two things about it. One, he said he loved everyone. He never said he hated Jewish people. If you could find me a clip where Ye said he hates Jewish people, white people, black people, green people, anything, I'll be quiet. He never said he hated. He said he loved, and that caused the problem. You got to think about where we at in the world if that's a problem, guys, to say you love everyone, to say that every human life has value. That's the enemy. And then if you watch any of the quote unquote famous reactors react to this particular video here, and especially this part right here, guess what they single out as Ye's error? They get upset that Ye said that Hitler invented microphones in a highway. They'll shut down the whole stream, go to Google, AI, Grok, your mama, everybody else just to prove that Hitler didn't invent the microphone because Ye said that. That's what they're pissed off about. What? Hitler didn't invent the microphone? Let me Wikipedia that. We love everybody over here, yo. And there's this concept, and it's interesting to hear it. It's being spread a little bit more now. And I'm with this concept. If you hate one, you love no one. That's real. I see that as real. If you hate one, you love nobody, because hate and love don't even go together. And then people would get defensive about that because you don't even know what hate is. You don't know what love is. You letting someone else's idea of love and hate define your reality. if you hate one, you love no one. Not even your kids, not even your mama, not even your daddy, not your aunties, nobody. We done with that hate stuff, bro. I don't give a damn who it is. Now, will we speak up? Do we have the right to discern and say, hey, that's not right, or that's good and that's wrong? Yeah, God gave us that ability, but to hate? Nah, bro. Get out of here with that. Okay, we got a couple more here. We're gonna get out of here. I know it's was it Tuesday? It's not the weekend.
You're gonna do anything to fix?
Let me see here. We're gonna let it play a little bit. I'm gonna take a quick break. I'm gonna let it play.
Oh, I gave it away. Have in common. Nick, can you pick that up and expound on that?
Absolutely, yeah. You know, and it's interesting because you've been going on these interviews with Lex Friedman and with Tim Pool and Piers Morgan, and they always say, well, don't talk about a group, talk about the individuals. And I would point out, one, it's hypocritical because in the same interview, Tim Pool said, well, wouldn't Ye be so great for the black vote? So you can say the black vote, but you talk about Jewish businessmen, and somehow that's a problem. You can't talk about groups when it's one but not the other. The other thing is that there is something baked into the cake in Judaism which affects how they're brokering these kinds of contracts with entertainers like Ye. If you look at the Talmud, which is a real Jewish holy book or part of the holy book, there's the written Torah, which is the Hebrew Bible. There's the oral Torah, which was written down as the Mishnah and then interpreted in the Talmud. In the Talmud, it says that Jews have to treat Gentiles differently than they treat other Jews. There's all kinds of examples of this. They say that if a Jew indirectly kills a Gentile, there's nothing even wrong with that. There's nothing morally wrong with that. They say that for a Jew to have sex with a Gentile is comparable to bestiality. They say that the semen of a Gentile is like that of horses. They also say that you can't give a gift to a Gentile. A Jew is not permitted under the Talmud to give a gift to a Gentile. They're not permitted to charge each other interest, but they're encouraged to charge Gentiles interest.
What do they say about pedophilia?
They say that that's, in some cases, licit.
Well, I mean,
so you're telling me in their holy book, it says it's okay to be pedophiles as long as it's not another Jewish person.
That's something that came from Adam. I'm not 100% sure on that.
Well, let me just get this. Let me just get this out front. I believe in free speech, and that's why I want you to be here and be able to say whatever you want. I'm quite the historian from a lot of multifaceted views. So at a certain point, I'm going to give my nuanced views of this because there are power structures and there are mafias and there are cliques and there are groups. And
Alice had to shut that down quick. That was funny. Hey, but Nick was fair there. Even when he thought Ye said something that was a little bit off about the whole pedo thing, he said, well, I don't know about that. But it's interesting though. Interesting. And now, like I said, when Ye did this interview, everybody was losing their mind. Now everybody's saying it now though. Everybody's saying stuff like, oh, what's the Talmud say? What does the Talmud say? They are. Y'all know I'm not lying. Now everybody's talking about it. You know? So who has the keys to the kingdom? Who has the influence? Are we going to finish up with maybe two more and then get out of here? And it'll be quick. Let's go to 3625. And remember the whole theme. Who has the keys to the kingdom? What do the keys to the kingdom even look like?
Yeah, I agree with Ye. I think that it's time that America has a fearless, visionary leader who serves Christ, who wants to bring the future forth in engineering and theology. I think that when you look at the options that were offered, and I said this on my show the other week, and the news said, oh, he supports DeSantis. I said the moderate Trump.
DeSantis, nobody even knows. It's just somebody that all the left are all of a sudden.
Well, let me raise that. Let me raise that since you guys got into this, and we'll do hours on this.
Wait, did I cut you off, Nick? I want you to.
Alex Jones was the most annoying he's ever been in my life in this interview right here. He didn't want to let them get nothing off, really.
Let him complete his thought. Go ahead.
So the moderate Trump.
What's that? This interview? If you go on X and if you put it in the search bar, it's gonna bring you. You might be able to find it, but if you go to Rumble, RUMBL, that's like another streaming platform. it's kind of like YouTube, but not as popular. It's on there. They have a little bit more lax rules on what can be uploaded. So I hope this video doesn't get taken down for nothing. I'm just reviewing it as educational.
Trump versus DeSantis will not produce any outcome where America or Jesus is put first. DeSantis is mobbed up with Israel and Mossad. Donald Trump, his speech, his announcement was written by Jason Miller, who's controlled by foreign interests. If there's a Republican primary between them two,
main part I wanted to capture in that exchange is what Nick said about we need a fearless leader who loves Jesus, who wants to bring theology and bring technology and bring the country forward. We're stuck in this spot right now. I don't know if y'all realize it. You know, some of the things I keep repeating, you know, in this world right now, there's certain people who hate Jesus, whether you believe in him or not, and believe that he was real or not. There's people that hate Jesus and they hate Hitler. So what does that put you? It puts you in the middle of Jesus and Hitler. You can't move. We can't go towards Hitler because you're an anti-Semite, you're evil. And you can't go towards Jesus because we hate Jesus. So what does that put you? It freezes you. Like I said, hell is cold, y'all. I think hell is cold. You freeze. All right, we're going to finish up with something else is true. This is so true what Ye says here. And it's something small, but I just reckon, little things, because you have to understand, ladies and gentlemen, my people, it's so much I could say, but here we go.
Or whatever, we should judge the individual. But it's wrong for the ADL to have what are very racial policies.
The ADL is played out. Nobody knows who the ADL are. Stop giving them attention. Nobody cares about the ADL. ADL, shut up.
Well, they run all the censorship and everything.
They don't run anything. They're played out. We run the streets.
Well, I'm singling out the ADL. So
we don't know who they are. No one in high school knew what the word anti-Semitic was until Ye made it popular.
It's not a lie. Nobody knew what that meant. And he said, we run the streets. What really moves the country, guys? You think it's laws or culture? What's more influential? The police or the rapper? What's more influential? Ted Cruz or the comedian? Art, culture, that's what moves the country and move ideas forward. That's why he brought up Steve Jobs. The reason Ye brought up Steve Jobs earlier was to show you that the people that change the world aren't the politicians, they aren't the police, they aren't the military, they aren't these executives. It's the ones with ideas. The iPhone changed the world more than any president. Shakespeare changed the world more than any politician. It's the artist, the creator, the idea. That's what we're moved by. And where do those come from? It comes from God. NBA YoungBoy has more influence than Ted Cruz. NBA YoungBoy has more influence than Mike Huckabee. That's the truth. The keys to the kingdom is the culture, the idea, not the letter of the law. It's not the letter of the law. People don't live off that stuff. They don't care about that stuff. All right. So I know it's getting late. I went pretty good here. 10, 11 on the East Coast. So we're going to get out of here. And we'll end it, man, on this. There was something I wanted to show y'all. Y'all see this guy right here. Dan Blazerian making noise. You know, this energy is not going to get it done, guys.
Book of Isaiah 5:20. Woe to those who call evil good and good evil, who put darkness for light and light for darkness. That is what is going on right now. Like, we are being gaslit. We are being told that, like, pedophilia needs to be normalized. They're trying to call them minor attracted males. It's just nonsense. Like, and people need to snap the fuck out of it and understand what's going on, because it's never been more clear. There's never been a clear delineation between right and wrong than there is now.
As much as what he said is true, does it have the spiritual, cultural influence to move the waters? And he's running for office somewhere in Florida. Nah, man. Nah. Ain't gonna work. So who has the keys to the kingdom? That's the question for the people around the world. I think y'all know the answer to that. Based on this live and based on everything that I just showed y'all, I think you see who has the keys to the kingdom. And it's going to be okay, everyone. It's going to be perfect. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be glorious. Don't let these talking heads pit you against your brother. All right? And I'll end with this. Everyone's position right now, everyone, the idea of blacks just being slaves, and then that the white man is some kind of like superhero. It's a reason that we feel that way and think that way. It was on purpose. All right. So I'm gonna get out of here. I appreciate y'all as usual. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe and throw your comments in there. You know what I'm saying? But Dan can't play offense. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he's there, Dan Bilzerian, but they're really all following Ye's lead. Ye made a comment about when he said George Bush don't like black people. When he made that comment back in the early 2000s, man, that was unheard of to see a celebrity talk like that. People don't realize how, what's the word I want to use? Polarizing that moment was for America, right? But then he made a comment that after he did it, they made a big deal about it. And then as you saw, all the celebrities start dissing presidents. So the celebrities, their handlers start saying, hey, go out there and diss Trump. Go out there and diss this president, diss that president. They didn't diss Obama. They were scared to diss Obama. But when Trump got in the office, all the celebrities now dissing Trump. Ye said the only reason they did that is because when he dissed Bush. And I'm telling you, these people are followers. They're not the leaders. White people are not the leaders. And I'm not saying that in a disrespectful way. I'm saying that it's clear and obvious at this point. You're not the spiritual leaders is what I mean. The cultural leaders. That belongs to another people. And we're going to work together, just like Ye had Nick Fuentes on, and he still deals with Nick Fuentes. We're going to work together because that's what they're afraid of. They don't want us to see eye to eye. So yeah, you're right about Dan. He can play defense. Let me see make sure I read that right. He'll be good for defense. And we'll see. We'll see. But I like the idea of, and I say this spiritually, a black Nazi. The rules that they set for us are against them. The idea of a black guy liking Hitler or saying he loves Hitler, it looks ridiculous for you to call a black guy some Nazi. It doesn't even sound right based on the programming. But Dan Bilzerian, you can call him a racist, you can call him a Nazi and this, that, and the third, and people say, yeah, it fits. He's white, he has muscles, he's a Nazi. It don't fit. That covering don't fit well on us though, on blacks. Do you know how ridiculous it sounds? So we can go places that other nations can't go. Other nations of people can't go everywhere that a quote unquote black man can go, especially a black slave. Man, we can go anywhere. Remember, we have no power. There's an advantage to that. And God gave us that advantage, whether y'all understand that or not. I love the way these games being played. I love I like my view. And hey man, we're here for everybody, man. We're here for the babies, most importantly. So yeah, with that, I'm gonna go and get up out of here. Like I said, appreciate the bounce back, Moses, as always, homeboy. I might go live again tomorrow or the next day. We'll see. But I appreciate you for checking in. Everybody else who stopped in and threw a like there, I definitely appreciate y'all. As I always say, I love every soul created. And I'll see you next time.